Michigan State's Tom Izzo. How are you, Coach?
Good, Rich. How are you?
I'm doing fine. This is crazy.
It's our time, isn't it, Rich?
I was about to say crazy
even
times.
Crazy. Even you probably were hoping that there's basketball going on all day, so you have something to talk about.
No,
right?
I know, but again, we're talking about bigger things, you know, and
yeah, we are.
And that's why I'm saying, like, so what was the conversation with you and your players about all this, Tom?
Oh, it was tough. I'll be honest with you. You know, I said I actually had an early morning meeting on yesterday, and then I was going to practice, and we had a great practice. I was surprised because I had to tell them that there'd be no fans in the stands and all that. This was yesterday morning. Michigan was supposed to play Rutgers at noon, and at about 10:02 or something, they came into our practice. We were going to be done at noon, and we were going to drive down to Indy, and they told us that it's canceled, okay? So I had to tell the players that. And then by 3 o'clock, they talked about the NCAA being canceled, and I didn't want them to find out on Twitter or something, so I called a meeting at 4:30, and at 4:20 they released it. And that was a tear-jerking meeting for this, senior for Cassius, who had come so far from all he's been through this year. It was, I do feel for the seniors in all sports, and yet, as you say, it's bigger than life. I was hoping that they'd postpone it for a couple of weeks till we got our arms around this thing, because I don't know if anybody does have their arms around it right now, and see what happens, but I guess it just wasn't able to be that way. So now we move on, and I think both our schools, are all but closing down this week,
right?
As far as everything, so it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, and so can you let me in on what your conversation was with Cassius? Again, as you mentioned, his journey this year.
I just told him that life's not always fair, but there's bigger things in life than basketball, and I said somehow, some way. He's got to use this. That we always say, well, there's a next year, and well, there's the tournament, or well, there's the Big Ten tournament. And I try to tell all our players, this is why you hear it all your life, live each day like it's your last. Well, I don't live to die, but I also hopefully it teaches guys that you better take advantage of every second you have. And for Cassius, I said, hopefully you have a future still, and now we got to look towards that.
Tom Izzo here on the Rich Eisen Show. Was there a sense of unease in preparing, however, for your game while you were doing that?
It was strange. I mean, I played at Northern Michigan, so Rich and I played in front of no fans a lot of times. When you're at Division II schools. So
nice.
I tried to make light of that, and tell them that it's not all that bad. But I don't think uneasiness as far as worrying about anything. I was uneasiness, wondering how. I think they felt bad that the only people could be there was their immediate family, no girlfriends, no aunts and uncles, things like that. And you get to that pinnacle of your career or your season, and this is when people get to celebrate the good times. And because you are deep into the Big Ten or NCAA tournament, you're playing for something that's really big, and as far as what we do as coaches or as players. But then I think the reality of making sure everybody's healthy and all these things take a bigger stand. So I don't know if it was uneasiness. I think it was the unknown, and that's the whole thing with this disease. Or it's the unknown that's maybe scarier than the known.
Yeah, I know. So who is the team or the school reaching out to in order to inform you of what the risks were or what could go down? I mean, can you walk me through?
Well, yeah, I think that's the hard part. I think so many people got on Twitter and got on their, TV, and everybody's talking about what should be doing. All I said is, let's talk to our medical people, and that all happened so fast that we didn't get much into that. It was all canceled before you could really step forward on much of that. And now I think that's what's happening all over, and that's why, everybody. In the state of Michigan, we're closing elementary schools, high schools. I think Michigan State, I think all the schools are going to be more or less closed. Things will be online. it's a bizarre time, and yet I think drastic situations take drastic measures, and I do respect that people are trying to do what's best for everybody. I just don't know what that is.
I know.
Do you go out to eat? What do you do?
Well, did you get any specifics on the I guess science of it, medical, or how to handle it? What you passed on to your kids?
I really didn't. Nobody's shaking hands with anybody now, and
right.
And yet, if you're in a room with somebody, I mean, if my worry at a campus was, okay, we close the campus down, or we, say classes are closed down. Does that mean everybody heads to the bars? You remember back in your college days, and that's worrisome. So it was just with everything that I was worried about. And you say that fever and coughing and this and that, a lot of like flu symptoms, but sometimes they say that right now, you could have it and not have symptoms. So it is a scary time, and we're just trying to deal with it day by day. But I've met with my players now, and some of them will be going home at least for a week and doing things online.
Tom Izzo here on the Rich Eisen Show. Are you off the recruiting trail for the time being as well?
Yeah, we're not allowed to go anywhere, and even in recruits, the high schools, they've canceled all the high school tournaments. So there's, I guess in their own way, I'm going to have a week or two to, like I've never had since I've been in this job. Where I guess I'm supposed to stay home too. Which, never happens. In these jobs, you're kind of working a lot of hours, and right now, I guess in some way that's what I got to look at. I don't know how that'll be. I hope my wife puts up with me for a couple days.
Just FaceTime with Mooch,
the divorce
Tom.
rate doesn't go up.
By the way,
these women will be sick of us.
By the way, I'll tell you, a lot of people are saying, well, as you mentioned, like, what do we talk about in the sports world, when that happens? I think there should be a show, FaceTime with Mooch, Izzo and Mooch. I would pay to watch a FaceTime between the two of you guys.
He called me because he was coming to the Big Ten tournament.
I'm sure.
I said on Thursday night it didn't look like I thought we were going to play, but it didn't look like we were going to have anybody in the stands.
Right.
And he says, but I'm related to you. And I said, I'm not claiming you. So right. He stayed home.
A few minutes left here with Michigan State's Tom Izzo. Gino Auriemma, I mentioned this with Jay Billis last hour. He came up with an idea, or he forwarded an idea yesterday, that these are obviously unique times. As you pointed out, you've never been home for this amount of time. That seniors should be allowed to have an extra year of eligibility next year, that this should not cost the end of a college career for somebody just because this pandemic has happened. What do you think about that idea, Coach?
I heard Gino. I actually had talked to him. I'm not disagreeing with that. The problem is, like, football got to play their whole year, or basketball got to play, 31 games and just didn't get to play in the tournament. But, you got to look at places like our golfers or our tennis players, or, they don't even get this, our baseball players. They don't even get to play in their senior year season one day. And I think there should be something done on a special occasion, because this is a unique. I mean, I've never heard of this. It's been not in the years I've been alive, and so it is unique. And I think there should be unique measures, because I mean, I look at a thing like, I think it was Shabazz Napier. They beat us in the Elite Eight in like 14 or 13 or something like that, and he went on to have an unbelievable tournament. They were a 7 seed. They won the national championship. He became a first-round pick, I believe, because of it, and people are going to lose opportunities both in high school and college. So I think there should be something done. I think Gino is maybe right on.
What would be again, we can go down this path right now, fully aware, knowing, and I will say this on our behalf as well, your behalf, that there are larger issues clearly that's going on in the world.
Yes.
But what would be the issues, nuts and bolts, from somebody from your position to make that happen, scholarship wise, or commitments to playing time?
I think they'd have to give a few more scholarships. I don't think a ton. I don't think many people have 4 seniors. And if you do, maybe like in our case, maybe Cassius Winston tries to go to the NBA, doesn't come back, whatever. But I just think the opportunity for those kids that maybe, what if we're a tweener kid and had a chance, maybe, you to get to the NBA or to get to Major League Baseball or golf or tennis or whatever it is. Senior years sometimes make a big difference, and so I think it would be a couple scholarships, and there'd be some strange parts to it. But if we're totally looking at the student athlete like we always say we are, I think those guys that have paid their dues deserve a chance to finish in a way that they can finish.
So you're just going to spend the next couple of weeks at home? That's basically the plan. Just stay
I don't
indoors.
know. I mean, we're not allowed out,
right.
At least until May, and I don't know. There's no way my wife's putting up with me for that long, and so I might, take up fishing or something and go to a pond. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll be calling Mooch. I'll be calling you.
Anytime. Do you cook?
I'll be talking to a lot of people, and it sounds like I'm making fun of it. I'm sure not.
No, not at all. No, it's serious. This is serious business. I understand.
It is. And I want to make sure that we all stay healthy, you and your family, me and mine. But I also, I do feel for those kids. I mean, I look at what Cassius went through this year, and there's a lot of those. So I hope they can come up with something, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen. It's just going to be one of those times in life.
You're right, and all the people that were depending on the hourly wages to work the Big Ten tournament, to work the NCAA tournament, Tom, I mean, it is just it is quite something for everybody to try and figure this thing out. But we're all smart enough, I think, and we're all compassionate enough. We all just open our heart. Yeah, we are, right? And
I agree with you.
And that's the issue with this. We talk about
the Michigan and Michigan State people are going to work together on this one.
That's right.
How's that?
That's right. That just to show
and I really
the
do
unity.
believe that, and I think that's an honorable thing you said, and this is where our country's got to come together. But you're talking a lot of people, working at pro arenas, working at baseball and this and tournaments and cities that are depending on those kind of things. There's going to be a lot of repercussions, but the best part will be if we get everybody healthy and keep everybody healthy, and we'll live to fight another day.
That's it. Tom, love you, man. Thanks for calling in. We may just keep checking back in on you. Okay.
You do that, and I appreciate it. And God bless you guys out there, and take care of your family.
You got it right back at you. That's Tom Izzo.
Rich.
You got it right back at you. That's Tom Izzo, Michigan State's Tom Izzo, right here on the Rich Eisen Show.